Hi everyone, welcome to the penultimate video from this page from the Story of Precious Cats by Nelco Neco, and we have this little planter set to do today. Let's come in nice and closely and have a little look at what's going on with this. I think they're herbs, but I'm not entirely sure. I'm going to come in close and pull it down a tad. There we go, it's all in shot. Okay, so I'm going to start with the wooden box and just grab I think I'll grab a raw umber and just do, sorry it's a bit small, and just do a layer of raw umber over all of the wood, and then we'll identify where it needs to be lighter and darker. I'm hoping that this is a different colour to the other wood items that we've done in the basket. I want them all to look a little bit different from each other. You could do them all matching if you like that sort of coherence, but I just wanted to do them differently. Sometimes I would have thought, yes, I'll do them the same, but this time I didn't. So in here this would be darker, but we'll do that later with a darker colour brown once we've got this first layer down. So I just say a tomato. I went shopping, and I bought these big Isle of Wight tomatoes from a deli in town, and it said don't refrigerate, so they're on the counter, so when I go in I eat one, and it's really nice. So yeah, I've got a cup of tea waiting. Now I'm trying to have a look here to see whether we've got any of the box here. So that is the bottom of that pot there. That's the part of the pot. That bit in there, I think that's a bit of the box there. And this bit here, that's our container. And here, look, just trying to fill in those little gaps where I need to. And then we're going to do the second box in the same colours. It may not look the same by the time we finish, and that's absolutely fine, but I'm just going to start it off the same way. Got a little trowel to do. Coloured a trowel before. I think, yes, in Worlds of Wonder by Johanna Basford, there's a page with all fruit and veg, and there's a trowel on that page, I think. I think that's where I've coloured on. There might be one in her World of Flowers book as well, in the page with all the shelves and all the bits and pieces on the shelves. I did that as a set of videos quite a long time ago. I've been trying to think of what videos to do. I've got hair on my hand. Once I finish Magical Worlds, because I've been doing loads of Magical Worlds videos, which is nice, but I like to keep up some Johanna stuff as well. So we're trying to think of what to do, but I haven't decided yet, but I shall certainly decide. There's plenty to choose from, and I've got a lovely selection. I am going to go to Burnt Umber next. This is a much darker brown. We're going to put in some darker areas. So as I said right at the beginning here, I'm going to darken that up there and fade it off. We want it to look more three-dimensional. I think these are drawn, all of these drawings are done in a way that helps it to look three-dimensional anyway, and you can take the clues from those lines, for example. Now here, look, this bit is behind there, so it would be a bit shadowy, like that. And then these little feet would be a bit darker, so they're set in like that. Then our inside bit, I think there and there were three bits, would be a bit darker. And under here, we're going to sort of continue this real black bit with this dark. We're going to make it quite intense. I think it would be shadowy, like that. Even though this isn't right over the top of that bit, I still think it'd be quite shadowy and dark. A little bit there, under there, and then this side of this one, like that. Oh, this one here too. nook here where this is overlapping, if we can put some shadow in there, it will help to make it look even more 3D. There we go. I do think the initial layer looks a little bit wishy-washy. Trying to decide whether to go back over it with the same. I'm going to go over it with some green gold, I think. I want it to sort of look quite bright. So I'm going to go over all of it with this once I've sharpened it. It's very blunt. I don't know who put it away so blunt. I just went out along the canal. I saw a mallard today, which is really rare. I like mallards. I think just grabbing my burnt umber, I think we need a darker bit in there. Quite rare to see them on that particular part of the canal, so it was rather a treat. And it got out of the water and stood on one of the little platforms where the canal boats can stop. Not that we get any canal boats yet. It hasn't quite been opened up and finished. We get the there's a charity does boat trips, and so we get those, but we don't get like just people coming along, and it's because it's not open at each end, the canal. So if you wanted to put a boat on it, you'd have to crane it in, and so the charity one is on the water all the time, so that's fine. But anyone else, normally people who use canal boats like for their homes and things, they don't want to be like trapped within a quite small area. I think they like the free life sort of thing. We're going to put some more brown over the top of this in areas once I'm done. Yeah, so it was nice to see the mallard. I saw wagtail and some blue tits, I think they were. I'm just going to sharpen my raw umber. I think we're definitely getting there with this. Oh, I've left the lead behind in the sharpener. That wasn't very clever, was it? Let's try that again. It's got quite short, this one. I don't know if I've got a new one. Some of my pencil sets I've decided not to replenish as they run out. What I'm going to do is I want these top panels to look brighter. So I'm going to go over the top of anything that isn't a top panel to try to just make that look a bit more like it's the top edge. Yeah, but I am going to replace my Polychromos because they're my favourites. But yeah, some other sets I may not replace quite so frequently. I've got so many pencils. And I feel very, very lucky. But I feel like I need to be using them all, not just a few brands, you know. So that's what I'm doing for a bit. But I am getting some. I have got some more Polychromos, so I don't know if I've got this one. I will have to check. Once I've done with this bit, we need to think about these little screws or nails. I expect they are tacks. I don't know. They wouldn't just be wood colour, they would be made of metal. That's better. So I think I'll just go for Paynes Grey and just try and put it quite dark on top so it sort of stands out. I need to sharpen it. I've got quite a lot of layers of colour down there. If you have a sharper pencil, you can get down into the tooth of the paper a little bit better. There we go. There'll be a little bit of shadow underneath each one. I'm just going to try and draw that in with my burnt umber. Sharpen it really sharp. I don't know if it'll work. Give it a go. Here it is, burnt umber. Might just look really similar colour to the Paynes Grey. There we go. I'm also going to emphasise these lines a bit. I think they look nicer if you put them into brown rather than just leave them in the black. I also need to put a bit of shadow in from this trowel. Okay, now we're nearly done with this. Now the little pots I'm thinking of next, the plant pots, I quite like them in a similar, a similar colour to the ones that I did already. But I think rather than starting with burnt ochre, we'll start with terracotta. Whoops, just to make them a bit different, because we're not matching anything. I think it would make more sense. So I'm going to use my terracotta to just put a layer all over the pots, and then we can put in some shape, shadow and shade. It's a lot of S's, isn't it? Didn't really need the third one. Shadow and shade, the same thing, but it sounded good. This is such a lovely book. I'm a bit naughty for not using it that much, but I really enjoy it when I do. I'd have that with a lot of books though. There are certain books that I just grab and dig into, but of course this year my plan has always been to finish a pile of books, and so I tend to just turn to those all the time and don't really do a big variety. And that's just what I decided to do this year, just to have a sort of goal, and it's been really nice finishing lots of books, I have to say. I always get a lovely sense of pleasure from finishing one. Right, now I'm going to come back in each pot and make the edges darker. I'm still using the terracotta, but what I'm going to do is layer it up on the edges of each pot to try and make them look a bit more shapely. We will use other colours as well, because this isn't going to do enough, but we can certainly start here. There we go. Me and my neighbour were yapping about various things, and we started talking about changing rooms. It was a TV show in the 80s, and neighbours, as we're neighbours, you know, neighbours used to swap places and decorate a room of each other's houses. I said we should do that. It would be an interesting undertaking. I wonder how many. He was saying how it often looked very temporary. What they did, this is burnt sienna. They would staple something on or glue it or whatever, and he was like they should have gone back 6 weeks later to see if everything fell apart. And I was like, yeah. But also I think maybe the neighbours fell out a little bit. I know some did, but I wouldn't want to risk that. But it was a bit of fun, I guess. Maybe they didn't really fall out. Maybe they asked them to stage it. I don't know, for the TV. You know, certainly made it more entertaining to watch. So I'm putting just bits of this dark colour on the edges. But it would be interesting having someone in do some decorating. But it's always so difficult because you have to move everything, and they used to move everything out of the room for you. But that's the biggest problem I find with decorating. Now I'm going to use this dark sepia to do shadowing. So for example, under the sort of rim of the pot, put a bit of shadow, and where it's sort of against the box and just on the edge, and then here look where it overlaps the other one. So yes, I don't know if I'd want them to come in and do my house. I think I was living with my parents when that programme, I used to watch that programme a long time ago. We're actually talking about one of the people who was in the programme at the time, who lives fairly close by, and who I was talking about that I'd seen, always used to see quite a lot. Not so much now. I don't go to the place where I used to see them, but I'm just going to go back to my terracotta and just touch up a few areas that look a little bit pale. For example, up here near these leaves and sort of on the top rim. Although I want the top rim to be a bit paler, I want a bit of colour in it. Yeah, they don't all look exactly the same colour, and I'm quite pleased about that, because I think some would be dirtier, some would be newer, that sort of thing. Now we've got this soil to do. Now I tend to do soil quite dark. I'm going to start with a dark brown. I'm going to use the burnt umber because it's here. And what I tend to do is do a little scribbly pattern like this. You can't really see the scribble. Let's make it a bit, there we go, a bit more obvious. Because if you look at dirt, it's sort of little round clumps. So I think if you can do this, it looks a bit more dirt-like. But we're going to put another colour on top as well. I just want it to look a bit textured. Like that. I'm just looking at these greens and thinking, what are we doing here? I'm thinking chives, rosemary, sage, not sage, what's that little tiny thing? Oh, I don't know. Anyway, I might think of it in a minute. Dark sepia, that one looks like sage. We're going to do the same thing with dark sepia. I might make like circles this time rather than scribbles. Thyme, that's it. This one could be mint. Doesn't really matter, does it? Or we just colour them in different greens. Quite dark, I think. There we go. Sort of soily. Now I'm going to, that's a bit too dark. I'm going to, I was going to do the hooker's green. I changed my mind. I'm chopping and changing. Let's grab this. This is the pine green. It is quite dark, and I'm going to use it for this one here, which I think is like a rosemary. The petals are quite fine, so I just noticed a bit of the barrow there really hasn't been coloured in very well. This bit down here, but never mind. We're not doing that today. We're doing this. So I'm not going to do anything special with these because it's fine work. So just going over each one, just as you would expect, really. Trying to make the colour intense enough so that they stand out away from that brown and terracotta colours. But apart from that, nothing too special. There we go. Now, chives. I'm going to use this one, the chrome oxide green fiery. Interesting. Sitting at my father-in-law's on Sunday, and he's got like a wooden box in his front garden, and it's got loads of herbs in it. It looks really pretty. I'm going to use this slightly grey-green colour for the sage. It's earth green. This one I'm going to do is sage. And inside the box is rosemary and various other things. And he has to grow his herbs up high because the rabbits eat them otherwise. But on the ground, in between the slabs, were loads of chives. You know, they weren't in the box. There were none in the box. They were just all over the floor. It's quite funny. They've obviously just sort of self-seeded themselves there. And down on the ground, which is where my niece was sitting, which looked, kneeling on the slabs. It looked rather uncomfortable. But hey-ho. There was a chair. She just chose not to sit in it. This is chrome oxide green. I can use it for this one, which I said maybe mint. But you can of course change it up a little if you've got different ideas as to what it is or what you want it to look like. It doesn't have to be a realistic type colour. Now, oh, I missed a bit. There we go. I'm going to use the chromium green opaque with this one. And while I'm doing this, I'm thinking about that trowel. How am I going to colour that trowel? Now I'm going to do this top bit in a silvery colour like our watering can a little bit, but perhaps a little bit darker. And then, I'm not sure about the handle. I'm trying to think what colour. I think they sometimes come in a plain wood, sometimes they're plastic and brightly coloured. All sorts of different thoughts and possibilities. Oh, I've got concentrating on that little one there. There we go. Not sure about this one. Maybe we'll do another blue-green because we've got that many bluey greens. We could do the emerald. Where's the emerald? Is that the emerald? Yeah, I'll try the emerald. It might be a little bit too pale. I'll try it anyway. I think that's okay. Now our trowel, we'll do the main part first. I want the paynes grey. I used that already, didn't I? Here it is. Paynes grey. And I'm going to go around this bit here. And then I think this bit might be darkish on the edges. I think we need to sort of fade towards here. So I'm going to start coming up and just gently fading that colour up like that. Same on this side. Oh, I'm getting thirsty. Hopefully my cup of tea is cool. I made myself a green tea today. Leave that look sort of shiny and shaped, and then this bit as well. I think this bit would be metal, but I'm making it a little bit lighter. There we go. Now that handle, I'm going to do a sort of wood look, so I'm going to start with this brown ochre. I think wood fits in with what we've been doing. Just quite a thick layer of brown ochre to start with. Then I'm going to use my bistre, and I'm going to put some shadows in here and here. Like this. I need a bit more, that's not really dark enough. I'm going to grab the Van Dyck brown. It's a bit darker. Sorry, let's see. So, really want some shadow on this side. Down here, particularly. And then I'm going to grab my dark sepia, just put a little bit more in. So under there. And then I want some lines so it looks a bit more wood-like. I'm just going to draw some sort of lines onto the handle. There we go. There it is. There we are, all finished. That is us for today. Thank you so much for watching. Hoping that you have a really super day and happy colouring.